Hello, badass business babes. I'm hoping my battery lasts long enough to record this little video for you. I have gotten through my first plant ceremony experience, and we have 4 while we're here. So I wanted to really do a good job of holding space to digest each and every one of these particular experiences. And I thought about recording all of this after, but I honestly think that the ceremonies are going to start to blur and get confusing, and I really wanted to do a good job of documenting the journey for you. So 2 little housekeeping things. Number 1, I'm going to take this video and put this on the Badass Business podcast. So if you're listening and you're in the middle of something, you can always go back and listen to these again. I'm going to end up pulling the audio and putting them on the Badass Business podcast. And then also, the other thing I'm going to just preface this by saying is this is my experience, right? So please do not be like, Lauren said I need to go and experience plant psychedelics. And yeah, I don't want that to happen to you. Guys, tell me if you can hear me, please. Put some love in the comments. Hi, Sarah Howard. What is up? So let me just give you guys some background on this. So I have some dear spiritual friends that I get together with every quarter. It is so important for us to all hold space to grow together, especially as women. This is why I'm really shifting into holding some big events in the 2020 year, because I know how impactful getting out of your house and going to a foreign location to do inner work can be for somebody, right? So if you want to see details on that, go to badassbusinessbabe.com. So we do these trips, every so often, and we've all been feeling this calling to experience spirituality on a deeper level. And there is something called plant medicine. And if you don't know what this is, it has been used for centuries in ceremony. I did a blog post about it on badassbusinessbabe.com. You can just search search spirituality or spiritual, and you'll find it. It's one of the most recent blog posts. So anyway, yeah, we've just been all feeling this calling to experience a deeper level of something bigger than ourselves, right? I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what you practice, but I shared this on Instagram today. Our ability to be successful is twofold. It's about showing up and doing the work and getting where you want to go, and then also surrendering. And sometimes, in plant ceremony, you got to do those 2 things at once. So we're doing inner work where it's effort, and you talk to people here who've been here before, and it's this is hard work. This is real hard work. One of my friends was this is one of the hardest things I've ever done, right? The power of plant medicine is to remove the ego and to show you who you truly are, and to show you what life is truly all about, and to navigate some of the traumas or the emotional wounds that have been hiding within you for a long time. It's also an opportunity to, like I said, connect to something bigger and more profound than you. And when we get lost in the fear of how do I be successful? How do I achieve everything that I want? How do I have all the money I desire? How do I manifest the man of my dreams? How, right? We are controlling, and we're not really allowing the universe to show us the signs. And so plant medicine is let's do the work, let's go quick. So we've had this trip on the radar, and just so you know, I'm literally recording this while I'm sitting in a bunch of ants right now. That's how much I want to record this for you. It's too sunny and shiny over here. I'm literally sitting in an ant farm, and I'm I have to record this for you guys. So we had this on the radar for a while, and my health has been a real struggle for me lately in this season. I've been sober now for almost a year. I came off of other things that I was taking, like Prozac, and my gut has been a really big issue. I've been, really mistreating my body with food and not taking care of this vessel. And I came to this place with really a couple of different intentions, one of which being I really want to heal my body. I have sweats and rashes every night, no matter what I eat, and it's so frustrating. And sometimes it's gotten to the point where I have not been able to sit down and focus on what I'm truly trying to do because I'm so fucking itchy. There's something wrong with my gut, right? And that's probably from years of antibiotics and drinking, and now it's all hitting me, right? So I came here with that intention. I also came here with intention to heal my relationship with my mom. My mom and I have been estranged for just 4 months, which has felt like an eternity for me. We were not close growing up. We had a really tumultuous, abusive relationship with one another, and we came together as adults to have a healthy relationship, And then we got into a little bit of a conflict, and then I was like, I can't have you in my life unless you're taking care of yourself. And I said this to her. I said, I can't have you in my life unless you're really doing something to go seek help, because my mom is really emotionally struggling. My mom did not like that ultimatum, and she was like, fine, you don't want to talk to me? I won't fucking talk to you for 4 months. And so I came here like really wanting to explore the mother wound. So my health and wellness, the mother wound. I also wanted to, obviously, this is something that I'm always focused on, is really just anchoring into the clarity of my mission. You know, like, what the fuck am I really gonna do for taking Badass Business Babe in the direction it's meant to be, right? What are the next steps? Universe, show me the way, right? Like, tell me where I'm supposed to go. Tell me what I'm supposed to be talking about. Tell me what I'm supposed to create for this beautiful community, because I love you guys so fucking much. And I just want you to have everything that you desire, right? So, like, I'm here, you know, for me, and I'm also kind of here for you, because I know when I do this work, I can be of better service to you. I can have this profound impact. So I was ready, and I went to plant ceremony. And so this place is really cool. If you've not heard about it, it's called Rythmia. This is literally the only place in the world that is certified to do these experiences. They have a medical staff on board. It is safe. It is private. It's all inclusive. So it's, you know, you get a beautiful pool. There's a steam room, sauna. There's a cold plunge, hot plunge. There's mud, massages, colonics, raw food. Like, it's just everything that my body has needed. And I actually didn't really know the impact of the wellness side of this until I got here. And I'm like, thank you, universe. Like, this is exactly what we needed. I had no idea that it was like so healing based in the body, and not just in like, take this plant medicine, right? Like, they really do a good job of having all these amenities here for you to have an all-encompassing healing experience. And so we got here on the first day, and like, it's Jen and me and Stephanie and Catherine, and we're like getting together and we're setting intentions. And I started to get really nervous, because I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know, holy shit, like, what if I poop myself? Because really, plant medicine is about purging, right? There's stuff in our bodies. We hold emotion within our bodies. And so one of the powerful gifts of plant medicine is that you can target certain areas of trauma that exist within your body, or certain health issues, and you can literally purge them. Like, this one guy I was talking to, he had a brain tumor, and he's been sort of in remission for a while, but they always knew that they left a piece of it within his brain, and they couldn't touch it because of where it was placed. And so he did all these plant medicine journeys, and the last night he was vomiting, and he asked the bucket, because he give you a bucket, what are you, bucket? Like, what do I need to know? And it was his tumor, like, coming out. So now he's like, I can't wait to go home and get tested and see if this is like not here anymore. And there are miracles after miracles of stories like this, of people who have come to the plants for emotional wellness, for curing addiction, for curing mental health issues, for elevating their consciousness. I mean, all these things, right? So it can be good, and it can also be bad. People report seeing demons and evil things, and hate and darkness, and they tell you here, you're supposed to move into that pain. Don't resist it. Don't run away from it. Like, move into it, right? So one of the things I really love about this place is that they educate you. There are classes that we've been going to every day that talk about, hey, this is what plant medicine is, and this is what you might expect, and this is what to do if this happens. And there are, the way they describe it, there are 4 different types of trips or journeys. I like to use the word journey, because when we talk about trips, I think like back to high school, when you were like using, you know, alcohol and smoking pot to go on like a trip. And so anyway, so there are 4 different types of trips you can have. And one of them is the consult, where you can ask spirit questions and she can show you answers. And then there's also the vision quest, which they call, I think, the Pinto. And that's where you can literally see things. And then there is the nada, where like nothing happens, but things are actually really happening. You're just not like experiencing it within the journey. And then there was something else I can't remember. So we all do ceremony, and there's 80 of us, right? And so about 80 of us. There's a room at 5:30, and you're not supposed to eat, you know, the time leading up to the experience. So we stopped eating around 2 o'clock, and then at 5:30 we walked into ceremony space, and we each pick, there's mattresses, right? Mattresses on the floor for each person. Everybody gets a mattress, pillow, roll of toilet paper, because if you need to like wipe your face, and then a bucket in case you have to vomit or purge. And so Anyway, so we all get there, we're sitting, and they have the shamans like all at the top, all lined up, and they ask you to set intentions, and then the first ceremony that they do is not ayahuasca, they do this tobacco up the nose, and you all wait in line, and they do this chant. It's like whoosh, ta, whoosh, ta. And like you don't really know what they're saying, but it's like, all right, this is kind of cool. This guy's wearing like a bunch of jewelry all over his body, and he has feathers on his head, and like, this is pretty awesome. Like, I've never done anything so native, right, before, so cultural before. It was really, really cool. And so we do that, and then we go up for our first drink. And this was like where, like, I didn't even take the plant medicine when it started working in me, because they're putting tobacco smokes in the room, and they're playing drums, and you're just like in this really shamanic healing energy. And like, I was about to go for my first drink, because you wait on this long line, and we were the last in line. I'm like, fuck, it's taking forever. Like, I just want this drink, so it's not really gonna taste that good, and I just want to get back to my mattress, like, go through this. And right as I'm about to walk up to receive my medicine, which is like a little shot glass, this big bug flies in my face, and it almost looked like a bumblebee, which is very symbolic to us as sisters, the women who I'm here with. We have the bumblebee as our sign. You can see I'm wearing the DMT molecule, which is the psychedelic effect of ayahuasca, and they're little honeycombs, the molecule. So it's very symbolic for us. And so this like bumblebee flies in my face, and I'm like, whoa, like, get away from me. And I move back, and then I hear this message within me, and it says, no, that's exactly what you're not supposed to do, Lauren. When the scary thing happens tonight, move into it. Don't resist it. And I was like, okay, awesome. Grandmother ayahuasca, they call her grandmother because she's this very grandmother at maternal energy of nurturing and wisdom, right? So grandma, who can sometimes be a tough cookie, take my plant medicine, I go lay down, and I don't feel it. So an hour and a half goes by, and then they call you for your second. And so I'm like, beeline, like, I gotta go. I am not feeling this. Like, nothing is happening. This is dumb, right? Like, I didn't really think that, but like, I was like, come on, like, do something, work your magic. And so I take the second plant medicine, I lay down, and there were these feelings of nausea that kind of came up, but as would anything that like you chug that's really thick and like isn't really exactly tasty, right? Like, you just doesn't really feel that great. So I'm allowing it, and I'm having it sit in my body, and I'm closing my eyes, and I start to see these visions of like a woman's face, and it just pops up, like one here, and just like flashes, and I can't really grasp or hold on to any of the visions, and I just allow them to come through. I'm like, this is what it is, like, it's happening. And then, you know, I think it's important to note too, I came into ceremony with a lot of physical pain that day, and the day before, my chronic illness had started escalating, and so I was getting my, you know, just really bad distension in my stomach, and these pains and exhaustion, and like just not being really present, and uncomfortable in my body, and a lot of aches and pains. And so I take that medicine, I start to see these visions, and then my pains start getting like worse. Like, and I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, and I was itching all over the place, like just itch, total itch. Like, I just wanted to rip my skin off. And I just allowed it, and I'm like, okay, Lauren, be present with this. Like, this is what you're here for. And I'm gonna get this messed up because obviously like things kind of jumble in the fog. The question that they have you ask is, show me who I've become. Show me who I've become. And I didn't really necessarily think about that question, but I knew from like the classes that this was something that I needed to pay attention to and hold space to just like receive in the experience. And I got this vision of just me in my total unhealthy body, and like just I could see myself in so much pain. I watched myself from that perspective, just like not being comfortable, not being aligned, not feeling connected. And then I got this flash of my sexual trauma, and I did not bring that to the table, you guys. Like, I wasn't like, I'm gonna heal my sex trauma from 20 years ago, right, or 10 years ago. I had kind of thought I did all that work, right? Like, I had thought I'd been through all of that and navigated it. And so I see my sexual assaulter, my rapist, right? And I see him, and and I have compassion for him. Like, I understand for the first time how fucked up he was and how much pain he was in and why he was so unwell and why he put that on me, right? And I could see that and understand that and appreciate it. And I there's almost a point where I wanted to run from it because I didn't want to see those visions. I didn't want to be in that pain. I didn't want to witness it, but I allowed myself to go in and I stepped into it more deeply. And then for the first time, this was like a mind block for me for a while. I had forgotten, because he was my boyfriend at the time, the man who raped me. I had forgotten about all the years of abuse, all of the, not years, months of verbal abuse that he put on me and how much pain I felt carrying that. And it's like all these years of being an alcoholic, I've been sober now for almost a year, it was like I was trying to hide from that. And I was mad at myself that I allowed somebody to so poorly mistreat me. And I've been resisting seeing that because I didn't want to feel like I was a bad person, or I didn't want to feel like I had failed myself. And so I would suppress that pain and uncomfortable energy with alcohol for years. And I've been sober for almost a year and this has never come up. And I was, for the first time, looking at how I allowed the disrespect and I allowed and created an environment for somebody to mistreat me. And I took full ownership of it in that experience. It was profound. It was so profound. And then I was like, I gotta fucking get him out of my body, right? Because I know that this energy is existing in my body and I don't want it anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, this has to go. So I lean over and I look at the bucket and they tell you to like talk to the bucket. And I'm like, get the fuck out of me. Like, I was like, just get out. I was so determined to just like release this. This is where it's gonna get a little TMI for you guys. It's important to know that like some of the experiences and effects you might have are similar to being like drunk and high at the same time. So you're like a little loopy, you're doing some silly stuff, you know, not everything is making total sense. And, you know, I'm like looking at the bucket and I'm like, get this out, get this out, get this out. Like, I don't want this in my body anymore. It needs to go. And I couldn't throw up. And my stomach is hurting and I'm having these visions of all of this like trauma and I'm like, I don't want this anymore. And I get this download, go outside. And I go outside and I'm holding my bucket and I'm like, bucket, tell me, like, what do I do? I'm like talking to this bucket. And I'm looking at the bucket and it's pure dark and I'm sitting outside we're in like a big room, but there's outdoors with hammocks and grass and beautiful stars and the moon, right? And so I'm holding my bucket and I'm like, please tell me, like, how do I get you out? How do I get you out? And I look and I start to see these green, almost like the aurora borealis sort of green light flicker in like 3 little different places of the bucket. And it's like lighting up and I'm holding it. It's so dark. And I lean in to see, I'm like, I want to see more of this beauty, like beautiful green lights, like tell me, like I want to know. So I lean in and in that moment, as I leaned in, the bucket direction changed and it reflected from the moon and it glowed in like this beautiful white light. And I just saw this like such beautiful clarity and vision. Now for those of you who are listening to this and you're like, fuck, I want to go to Rythmia, please just keep listening. When we air this on the podcast and after I record this, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to invite you guys in some sort of deal. So before you go and book your stuff, just let me know. So anyway, because I'm like, everybody has to do this. It's so game changing in my opinion. So anyway, so I'm like with this bucket and I see her and I can understand the message in that moment. It's that, you know, everything that you hold has a dark and a light side to it. And you can look at it and you can hold that bucket and you can see all the darkness and search for that light and go, nothing is coming, nothing is coming. But once you move in just a tiny little direction, everything shifts and that light from the moon just shined into that bucket and it was like, that was the message I needed, time to go back inside. So I go back inside, I'm laying and I'm like, there's a part of me that's like laughing my ass off to this because I'm like, you know, I'm walking around and all of these people are laying in their beds and some of them are throwing up and some of them are crying and I'm just like walking around like trying to get something out of my body and nothing's happening. So this is again TMI. I'm like, I really need to get him out of my body and I wasn't vomiting and then all of a sudden I had to poop. And they tell you, they're like, you might have total diarrhea while you're doing this. And that was my biggest fear of like shitting my pants in front of a room of 80 people. Actually, side note, I need to tell you something. So when we got here, they do weeks back to back. So you come for a full week. You can't just do one. You have to go through the full week. So when you arrive, the old group is leaving. And we were talking to this old group, and the old group was telling us that in the middle of like one of their third or fourth ceremonies, like 20 minutes in, this guy stands up and he shouts across the entire room, "I just shit my pants. Make fun of me if you want, but I just shit my pants." I was cracking up. I thought this was so funny, but I was deeply afraid to like do something like that. So anyway, I released, and I felt this feeling of all of the pain leave my body. It was fucking wild. Like the cramp I had in my hip, and the pain I had in my head, and the crink in my neck, all of it just disappeared within that moment. And I knew what I was releasing was that emotional trauma from my assault, and I knew that it was time to say goodbye to it. So I flushed the toilet, peaced out, went back down in my bed, and then I had the best night ever. Like, it was so fucking cool after that. It was like, I think on some level, Grandmother Aya was like, okay, you did the work, now it's time for you to play. Now it's time for you to have fun. And so I started to see all these geometric patterns, and I started to see this beauty and love, and I went outside and I sat in the grass and I talked to Mother Earth, and obviously, because I'm tripping, I have my hands on the earth and I'm like, thank you so much for what you do for us, and I'm so sorry that we've mistreated you. And then I'm talking to the sky and I'm like, thank you, Mother Moon, I love you, like you're so beautiful. And she had a face and the stars were moving. And so I'm sitting in like this deep thought, and in that moment, all of the questions that I had about my business started to download. All the questions about my development and my growth and my next levels. It was like boom, 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 this is the answer. And it was so cool, because for so long I've been really struggling with really understanding the big vision of where I was going, and then also being like, well, what are my now steps, right? Like, you have a big vision in your life, but then you have your now steps. And I didn't know what my now steps were. And so here she is, Grandmother Aya, telling me what all my now steps are. And so I'm thanking her and I'm thanking her. And then at one point I look back up the moon, back up to the moon, and like, guys, we live on a planet, so the moon moves, right? So like, I'm looking up here, I'm like, where'd she go? Like, she was right here before and she moved. And I'm like, oh, there she is, Mrs. Moon. And I turned my head. I'm like, you're such a trickster. Like, you're over there and then you're over here. And I was cracking up. It was like just the funniest thing, because I think I was like, wow, we live on a fucking planet and we're rotating in space and the moon is moving. Like, that is just fucking crazy. Or like, we're moving. So anyway, it was just really funny. It was very, very funny. And then what else happened? So then I started to wonder again about my health, because I had felt this wave of relief and I was afraid that it would go away. I was afraid that I had just done all this work and had done all this healing and looked at my trauma, and then I immediately, like, my ego came in and it was like, well, what if all of the work that you're doing here is going to be a waste, and tomorrow when you wake up you don't get any answers and your body still hurts? What if you're still addicted to food? What if you still struggle with binge eating? What if you still have no desire to work out? What if you still have exhaustion? Like, what are you going to do? What if your gut hurts? What if you have digestional issues? And so then I start to cry, and I'm sitting in the grass and I surrender, and I'm like, please help me. Like, and I was crying, and I was like praying in like a really beautiful way, just like this, like, please help me and please show me what I need to do next, because I can't feel like this anymore. I'm so sick and I'm tired and I don't want to be this way anymore. And then she's like, go inside. And so I went inside and I lay down in my bed and I started to see the geometric patterns again, and I started to dance, and I'm like, oh my God, this music, because they play all this music. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. And I'm like in my bliss. And then I go and I lay down and I go into a deep state, and I have this vision of, and this is where it gets like really weird, I had this vision of me laying down. They say 74% of people in the ayahuasca experiences here experience some form of celestial surgery. And celestial surgery is just this vision of something removing from your body, someone taking something out of your body, whether it's a person or a spirit or an animal, or in my case, a fucking alien. And so sorry, everybody's texting me. I was laying in my bed, and I woke up, and the vision I saw was exactly what you would see as if like you woke up in the middle of anesthesia. And I woke up and in the middle of anesthesia, and I can't move, and I know where I am, and there's all these bright lights, and the doctors like poke their head over, and they're aliens. They look like aliens, and they're doing surgery on me. And I'm like, what? Can you tell me who you are? Like, I didn't even like want to know what they were doing to my body. I was just like, can you please tell me who you are? Like, I really need to know who you are. They're like, no, you don't worry, we're not from this planet. And then they said, I said, well, then what are you doing to my body? Like, can you let me know? And they said, surrender. Like, why do you need to know? And I relaxed. I went in, and then I woke up, and I had all of these breakthroughs around my health and wellness, all of these breakthroughs around what I should be doing differently, how I should be using food, when I should be working out, what I should be taking to nourish my body, how I should be focused on my nutrition. It was like because I've been struggling too with this issue of like, there's so much fucking information out there. I think business coaches feel this way, and that's why they come to Badass Business Babe, or business women come this way because they feel there's so much information out there. What do I implement? And I felt that very much with my health and wellness. Do I do keto? Do I do vegan? Do I do this? Do I do that? And it was like, grandmother Aya told me everything. And so I'm like, I really fucking need to write this down. I like need to know, like, I don't want to forget any of this, but I didn't. And I just trusted. And we came out of ceremony, and it was beautiful. And then we all sat in a circle, and we shared. Everybody like opened up and raised their hands to talk about what they had been through. I love that you guys are posting in the comments. Go to Ryth, please DM me, send me a message. I'm gonna make sure I can do something for you guys. I'm gonna talk to Rythmia here because it has been so transformative for me, and I'm not making any money off of it. I just want to be able to give you guys some sort of opportunity to come here. I wouldn't have come here if it wasn't for somebody talking about it, if it wasn't for somebody sharing their experiences around plant medicine. And so I just want to encourage you guys to just hear this with open ears, because if it's like, oh, this is fucking weird as shit, like I thought this too when I started, right? I thought it was really strange. So anyway, I woke up this morning and I nourished my body with food in a way that I have not. And I felt alive in a way that I have not in a really long time. And I didn't feel pressure or anxiety around my business because it just all made sense. And it was so beautiful. It was so freaking cool. It was the best feeling. And guys, this is only the first ceremony. I have no idea what's gonna happen. Hi, Jen. Jen Casey's here. So I have no idea what's gonna happen next, but I think I'm just surrendering and allowing to the process and being able to say, you know what, like this one thing is like gonna show me the way, and I don't have to know all the answers right now. So that's ceremony 1. Is pretty much it. I'm excited to share with you guys tomorrow. We did, all of us took selfies the day we got here so we could compare how our faces look between now and after the ceremony. And it's really been a beautiful experience for me. So I'm excited to see if any of you guys take that step of going deeper into your spiritual practice with plant medicine. And I'm so happy that you guys were here with me today in all of my sweat and glory and openness and talking about pooping and just being here. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I love you. Thank you for 42 of you guys have been on this video. That is fucking crazy. I feel so grateful that I got to share with you guys. So yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you soon. And if you want to follow more of this experience, I'm posting on Instagram a little bit so you guys can see some of the details and behind the scenes and the beautiful grounds here. It is just so healing. Such a beautiful place. Love you guys.